There is something you do, probably every day, that makes people quietly pull back from you. Not dramatically, not with confrontation. They won't tell you. They won't even fully realize it themselves. But something shifts, subtly, permanently. The way they respond to you, the way they speak to you, the way they look at you when you're not performing, when you're not explaining, when you're not doing that thing. You walk away from conversations feeling like you connected, feeling like you were finally understood, like you said all the right things, and they walk away with slightly less respect for you than before. This is not about a mistake you made. It's not about something you said wrong. It's a habit, a deeply unconscious one. And the cruelest part? Most people doing it genuinely believe it's making them look better. Here's something no one says out loud, but every human being feels in their bones. Respect is not given based on what you say about yourself. It's given based on what your behavior signals about how you feel about yourself. That's the part most people miss entirely. They focus on the words, on the logic, on making sure people understand their side. They think respect is something you earn through explanation, through clarity, through making sure no one has the wrong idea about you. But that's not how it works. People are reading you on a level that's mostly unconscious. Before you finish your sentence, before they've fully processed your argument, something deeper has already registered. A signal, an emotional frequency. And that signal is answering one quiet, primitive question. Does this person feel secure in who they are? Because human beings, going back thousands of years, are wired to follow, respect, and trust people who feel certain. People who don't seem rattled. People who can hold themselves steady even when things get uncomfortable. And they are wired just as deeply to pull back from people who seem desperate to be seen a certain way. This doesn't make people cruel. It makes them human. When someone senses that you need them to understand you, that you're anxious about how you're coming across, something shifts in how they see you. Not because they chose to judge you, but because their nervous system already responded. The anxiety is contagious, but so is the calm. And the people who carry the most social gravity, the ones who walk into rooms and instantly shift the energy, they're not necessarily the most talented. They're not always the most accomplished. They're the ones who seem least concerned with your opinion of them. That's uncomfortable to hear, but sit with it for a moment. Think about the last time you were in a group setting, dinner, a work meeting, a social gathering, and someone started explaining why they did something. Not because anyone asked, but because they sensed or imagined judgment, and they couldn't hold still inside that discomfort. I know it probably seems like just so everyone understands where I'm coming from, I want to be clear that the reason I said that was, you've heard this, maybe you've said it. Now pay attention to what happens in the room when it starts. People don't engage more. They go quieter. Their eyes shift slightly. Something in them, they can't name it, begins to contract. Because what they're witnessing isn't confidence. It isn't honesty. It's panic dressed in the language of transparency. Or think about texting. Someone reads your message and doesn't respond for a while. Hours pass. You start to feel it. That low hum of anxiety. And before long, you send another message. Then maybe another. Explaining the first one. Adding context. Softening something you didn't need to soften. I didn't mean it in a bad way. Just to clarify, I was just saying, by the time they respond, something subtle has changed. Something they may not even be able to articulate, but they feel it. You handed them a piece of your composure, and people don't respect what you freely give away. Or relationships. Think about the moment in any relationship, romantic, friendship, professional, where one person starts needing to be understood more than they need to be present. They replay conversations, they explain their intentions, they push for acknowledgement, they keep circling back to make sure the other person gets it, gets them. And the other person slowly becomes cooler, more distant, not meaner, just less invested. And the more distance they sense, the harder the first person pushes to explain themselves. It becomes a loop, and every rotation of that loop removes a little more respect from the equation, or the workplace. The colleague who, every time they're questioned in a meeting, immediately launches into an extensive defense of their process, their reasoning, their timeline, their intentions. Meanwhile, the most respected person in the room says 2 sentences, maybe 3, and moves on. There's a stillness in how they hold criticism, like it doesn't have the power to shake their foundation. And it doesn't. That's the difference. These are 4 completely different contexts, but they all carry the same energy underneath. One person needing others to understand them more than they trust themselves. And everyone in the room quietly, without meaning to, stepping back. The habit is over-explaining yourself, not once, not when it genuinely matters, but as a pattern, as a reflex, as something you do before you've even checked whether it was necessary. Over-explaining, justifying, constantly clarifying, seeking confirmation that people see you the way you need to be seen. This is the habit that quietly, invisibly, systematically dismantles respect. And here's why it works the way it does. Psychologically, when you over-explain, you're not communicating confidence. You're communicating fear. Specifically, the fear that your actions, words, or choices are not defensible on their own. You are, in real time, telling the people around you that you don't fully believe in yourself, that you need their validation to stabilize, that their opinion of you carries more weight than your own. And humans respond to that signal the way they always have, with a quiet downgrade. It's not conscious cruelty, it's social psychology. When you signal that your self-worth is external, that it lives in how others perceive you rather than in your own grounded sense of self, people treat you accordingly. They become the authority. You become the one seeking approval. And authority and approval seeking cannot exist at the same level. Think about what over-explaining actually communicates in the moment. When you defend a decision, no one questioned. You've just revealed you were afraid they were questioning it. When you apologize for something before anyone expressed a problem, you've shown that disapproval terrifies you. When you add 5 qualifiers to a single statement, you've made clear you don't trust people to receive you without help. When you send a follow-up message breaking down your earlier message, you've just shown your anxiety is stronger than your composure. None of this is said out loud, but it is received, completely, accurately. And here's the part that will really sit with you. The people who over-explain the most are often the people who care the deepest, who are the most thoughtful, who are most afraid of being misunderstood, because they have genuinely been misunderstood before, and it hurt. So they compensate. They preemptively defend. They fill every possible silence with explanation. Because the silence feels like judgment. Because ambiguity feels like rejection. Because sitting with someone not fully understanding you feels, on some level, unbearable. But that inability to sit with discomfort, to tolerate being misread, to allow silence, to let your actions speak without narration, is what people are actually responding to. Not the misunderstanding itself, but the desperation to correct it. Over-explaining is approval-seeking with a sophisticated mask on, and approval-seeking is fear. And fear, chronic, social, identity-level fear, is one of the fastest things to kill respect in any relationship. Not because fear makes you weak, but because it makes you dependent, and dependency shifts power. And power shifted is respect lost. And now think about the people in your life who carry the most effortless respect. Not the loudest, not the most aggressive, not the ones who dominate rooms with status signals. The ones who simply don't seem to need you to see them a certain way. They make decisions without a press release. They set boundaries without a lengthy explanation. They take up space in a conversation and then go quiet without filling that silence with noise. When they're misunderstood, there's a pause, not an immediate correction, a stillness. And in that stillness, something communicates. Something says, I know who I am. Whether you see it is not my emergency. That's not coldness. It's not arrogance. It's not performance. It's something far more grounded. It's the complete absence of emotional dependence on your perception of them. Calm people don't rush to explain themselves because they're not afraid of the gap between what they said and what you understood. They trust that the gap will close, or they trust themselves enough to live inside it. Emotionally secure people can tolerate being misread. They don't like it. No one does. But it doesn't destabilize them. It doesn't send them into their phone, into their head, into an anxious spiral of justification. The most socially powerful people you will ever meet share one quiet quality. They don't chase understanding. They allow it to arrive, or they let it go. And this is the thing that changes everything once you really see it. The less you need people to understand you, the more magnetic your presence becomes. Not because you become mysterious or withholding, but because people can feel the internal gravity. They can sense that you're not pulling at them, not reaching, not needing anything from their perception of you. And that absence of need is, paradoxically, deeply attractive. People want to move towards someone who doesn't need them to move. They pull back from someone who is watching to see if they will. This doesn't mean you stop communicating. It doesn't mean you become cold or withhold genuine expression. There's a fundamental difference between sharing yourself from a place of fullness and explaining yourself from a place of fear. When you share from fullness, you're not waiting for a particular response. You're not monitoring their face for validation. You're not adding a disclaimer at the end to cushion the risk. When you explain from fear, every sentence is a question in disguise. Is this okay? Am I okay? Do you still see me correctly? Please tell me I'm okay. That question, even when never spoken, is heard. There's a moment, and you may have felt it without understanding it, where you suddenly stop needing something from a particular person. Maybe a friendship that had grown exhausting, or a relationship where you'd spent too long trying to be seen. And in that moment of release, something strange happened. They came closer. Not always, not forever, but something shifted in the way they held themselves around you. Something in the dynamic quietly rearranged, because you were no longer pulling, and humans move toward what is still. The respect you want from the people around you is not built through explanation. It is not earned through clarity or constructed through justification. It already exists, or it doesn't. And your behavior, specifically your relationship to your own discomfort, determines which. Every time you rush to explain, you are silently telling the room, I am not sure I deserve your respect without help. Every time you hold still, every time you let a misunderstanding breathe, let a silence stand, let your presence speak without narration, you are telling the room something entirely different. You will never be fully understood by everyone. That isn't the failure. That's just the landscape. And the people who have learned to walk through that landscape without constantly reaching for someone's hand, without narrating the whole journey, those are the people who move through rooms differently. Not louder, not harder, just unmoved. The moment you stop needing everyone to understand you, people begin to experience your presence differently. Not because you changed what you said, because you finally stopped asking for permission to mean it. Here's a short, natural end message that fits your brand tone. If this made you think differently, you're in the right place. This is Uncomfortable Psychology, where we explore the truth most people ignore. If you want more of that, subscribe.